It's one of the biggest paradoxes in business. You see teams working harder than ever, rolling out all these new efficiencies, but somehow they just don't get any faster. So what's going on? Well, the answer isn't about working harder. It's about understanding the basic architecture of how work gets done. We're going to talk about a fundamental shift in where you put your energy, one that can structurally accelerate your entire team's output. Let's get into it.
This quote right here, it just nails it. We buy new software, we train our people, we tweak dozens of little things, and what happens? The needle on our overall speed barely even budges. And that's because we're falling into the optimization trap. Improving something that's already fast is, well, it's a form of waste. The speed of any system, and I mean any system, from a factory floor to a creative team, is never the average of all its parts. It's dictated completely and totally by its single slowest step, the bottleneck.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to pull back the curtain on the great speed deception, which is what traps so many teams. Then we'll get into the solution, the scientific way to find that one constraint that's holding you back. We'll also dive into the psychology of why this works so well, give you a practical framework you can actually use, and wrap it all up with one big idea, the law of throughput.
So as a company grows, something called growth-induced process decay almost always kicks in. The simple agile workflows that were great for a team of 5 just become total chaos for a team of 50. And what's our first instinct? We try to fix everything at once, right? Let's make every single step 5% faster. But that's the trap. It's a scattered effort that completely misses the one choke point that's actually setting your team's real speed limit.
Think about it like this. Picture a 5-lane highway, and all the cars are just flying. But a couple of miles up the road, there's an accident, and 4 of the 5 lanes are closed. Now, does it matter how fast those cars were going before? Nope, not at all. The speed of the entire system is now dictated by how fast cars can squeeze through that single open lane. And that is exactly what's happening inside our companies. You can have a team full of superstars, but their total speed is always going to be capped by the single slowest step in their workflow.
So if improving everything at once is a dead end, what's the answer? Well, it's something called the theory of constraints. And this isn't about guesswork or rah-rah motivation. It's a scientific method, a diagnostic filter that lets you pinpoint and fix the one process that's setting the speed limit for your whole team. It's about surgical precision, not brute force.
The old way, it feels productive, doesn't it? We're busy, we're improving everything. But it's an illusion. I mean, if your design team gets way faster, but the legal review team, your bottleneck, can't keep up, what have you really accomplished? Nothing. You've just made a bigger pile of work that's now waiting for legal. You haven't actually increased your throughput, the amount of finished work getting out the door. The new way, the singular Uplift, gets this. It says 100% of your effort has to go to that one bottleneck, period.
Okay, so how do we find this bottleneck with total certainty? We use a secret weapon. It's a metric called time in queue. Now listen up, because this is absolutely crucial. This is not cycle time. That's the time you spend actively working on something. This is the idle time, the time a task spends just sitting in an inbox, waiting for a review, waiting for someone to get to it. This metric is like an MRI for your workflow. It cuts right through all the noise and shows you exactly where work is getting stuck. The step with the longest time in queue is your constraint. It's really that simple.
And look at how clear this becomes when you visualize it. The design step, low wait time. The launch step, also quick. But that legal review step, the time in queue is just off the charts. See, this isn't a feeling or a guess anymore, it's data. The problem isn't that the legal team is slow. The problem is the system is dumping work on them way faster than they can possibly process it. And boom, we found our bottleneck.
So the blueprint becomes incredibly straightforward. First, you map out the entire process, start to finish. Get super detailed about every handoff. Second, you measure the time in queue for every single one of those steps. And third, you execute the singular Uplift mandate. You throw all your resources, more people, better tools, a redesigned process at that one bottleneck until it's not the slowest step anymore.
But fixing the bottleneck is only half the battle. You have to implement a rule that can feel a little counterintuitive. It's called subordination. This just means that the rest of your system can't keep working at full speed. So in our example, that super fast design team, they actually have to slow down and pace their output to match the real capacity of the legal team. I know it sounds weird, but this is what stops work from piling up and creates a smooth, predictable flow, which is exactly what we're after.
Now, this whole framework isn't just powerful because of the numbers, it's so effective because of how it lines up with human psychology. When you bring this kind of objective clarity to what was a chaotic process, you're not just fixing a workflow, you're actually building a healthier, more motivated team culture.
Just think about all the mental energy that gets wasted in a broken system. Identifying that one bottleneck immediately reduces the cognitive load on everybody. Instead of 100 vague problems, you now have one clear, solvable problem. It also triggers a powerful psychological lever, loss aversion. When managers can see a hard number like 48 hours of wait time, they see that as a loss, and they get really motivated to invest resources to stop the bleeding. For the team, it gives them a sense of control and a clear way to see progress, which is just a massive morale boost.
And maybe most importantly, this approach completely stops the blame game. It's no longer, oh, the legal team is so slow or design isn't cooperating. It becomes, we have a structural constraint at the legal review step. That simple reframe takes a potential fight between people and turns it into a shared engineering problem. It depersonalizes the whole thing and unites the team against the real enemy, the bottleneck itself.
Okay, so we've covered the theory, we've covered the psychology. Now let's make this real. Let's turn this into a direct, actionable guide you can use to become a workflow diagnostician and find the one thing that's setting your team's true speed.
Here it is, your 3-step action plan. First, pick a critical workflow and map out every single step. Get obsessive about it. Second, for each of those steps, calculate the time in queue. How long does work just sit there, waiting? The step with the highest number, that's your bottleneck. Third, you enforce the rules. You put 100% of your improvement efforts on that one step, and you make sure everyone else subordinates to its new, faster capacity.
Let's look at this really simple example for a blog post. Notice the cycle time for design review? It's only 2 hours. That's actually super fast. The team is really efficient when they're working. But look at the time in queue, 48 hours. That's 2 full days that the design assets are just sitting there, waiting to be picked up. So it doesn't matter that writing takes 4 hours or approval only takes 1. The entire system's speed is dictated by that 48-hour wait. That, right there, is where you have to focus all of your energy.
All right, as we start to wrap up, let's zoom out to the fundamental law that's behind everything we've talked about. This isn't just a tactic or some management fad. This is a core principle of how complex systems actually work. It's the unshakable insight of workflow diagnosis.
1. In any system, at any given time, there is only one single constraint limiting its total output. Just one. Your job is not to fix 20 things. Your job is to find and fix that one thing. Because when you do that, you don't just improve a step, you elevate the capacity of the entire system.
Just let that sink in for a second. Every dollar, every hour, every brain cell you spend optimizing a process that is not the bottleneck is an illusion of progress. It is completely wasted capital. It might feel good, it might look productive, but it does not increase the number of things coming out the other side of your pipeline. All it does is create bigger traffic jams somewhere else.
And that leads us to the final and most critical reframe. Organizational speed is not about motivation. It's not about hustle culture. It's not even about having A players. It is a cold, hard, mathematical constraint. It's an architecture problem. And once you really see it that way, you stop trying to solve people problems and you start solving the right problem, this single structural constraint that's holding everybody back. So I'm going to leave you with this question to take back to your own world. Look at your team's workflow, not as a bunch of people, but as a system. Analyze its flow, measure where the work goes to wait, and ask yourself, where is the one slow step, the one constraint that is defining our true speed? Find it, because when you do, you're going to unlock a level of velocity you never thought was possible.